So, welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see Bob Jessop, right? Idea of Bob Jessop with respect to state. Very recently, we have seen through lens of people like Miliband and Pulunza how Marxist state functions, right? How Marxist state functions. In this lecture, we are going to see views of Bob Jessop. The idea behind Bob Jessop's state is to find middle ground between Miliband and Pulunza and to predict and to predict future of capitalist state future of capitalist state. In his attempt to predict future of capitalist state, he says that when economy changes from Fordism to post-Fordism, which means when economy changes from assembly line manufacturing industry to knowledge driven intellectual property driven economy, when society changes from assembly line to knowledge driven economy, capitalist state will change from Keynesian to Schumpeterian. Keynesian Keynesian view on economy was welfarist, and Schumpeterian view on economy is post-national workforce. Keynes says that economy should be welfarist. Schumpeter says that it should be a post-national workforce type situation. What is post-national workforce type situation? Well, what is welfare state? In welfare state, state will take care of you. What is post-national workforce? State will not take care of you. State will give you just skills and knowledge, and what to do with that skills or knowledge is in your hand, right? So when economy changes from Fordism to post-Fordism, capitalist state changes from Keynesian to Schumpeterian, right? In his book Flexibility of Politics, Bob Jessop gives three concepts. First concept is operational autonomy. In concept of operational autonomy, what does he say? He says that capitalism influences state. It is true that capitalism influences state, but it is also true that state can sometimes take decisions which are against capitalist class, right? State can sometimes take decisions which are against capitalist class. This is concept of operational autonomy. State can take decision which is against which is against interest of capitalist class, which means state maintain operational autonomy. State maintain operational autonomy seen in economic decisions like demonetization, seen in economic decision of raising tariffs, seen in economic decisions of raising taxes, right? Right. But but while state maintains operational autonomy over capitalist class, capitalism maintain ecological dominance ecological dominance over non-capitalist elements, right? Ecological dominance means comparative dominance. Ecological dominance is maintained by capitalist forces. What does this mean? Ecological dominance means what? Right? Suppose there is this big jungle of lions, tigers, elephants, and hyenas or cheetahs. Right? Cheetahs and hyenas. Right? In this big jungle, all four of these are apex predators. But lions will maintain ecological dominance over everyone else, which means that each of elephant, hyena, and cheetah have some dominance. Lions will have most of the dominance, right? Which means that, right? Taken this concept this concept in context of political science, we can say that capitalist forces have relative dominance over non-capitalist forces. Capitalist forces have relative dominance over non-capitalist forces, but not absolute dominance. They have dominance, right? They have dominance, but not absolute dominance. What is relative dominance? Right? What is relative dominance? Indigo maintains relative dominance in in flight business of India, in airline business of India. Indigo maintains relative dominance. It controls around 60% of the market. But Tata Airlines, Air India also controls 27-28% of the market. Right? Indigo have relative dominance. If if Indigo had controlled 90% of the airlines of the 90% of the market, then Indigo would have absolute dominance. But Indigo today has relative dominance. It is not an absolute entity. Right? You can understand the same thing in, let's say, example of telecom business in India. Airtel, Jio, and Idea. So Airtel, Jio, and Idea have relative dominance. But if one of them becomes someone who controls the market by single-handedly control the market, then that person will have absolute dominance. Right? So what does ecological dominance as a concept mean? It means that capitalist forces have relative dominance over non-capitalist forces, but not absolute dominance. What is non-capitalist forces? Forces like family, forces like culture, these also have influence. So dominance is not monopolistic, but ecological. In bracket, I will write relative. Not absolute dominance, but relative dominance. Right? This idea of state is its idea of state whereby state maintains operational autonomy and capitalist class maintains ecological dominance is called by Bob Jessop as strategic relational situation. It is a strategic relational situation. And state is regulationist. Situation is strategic relational and state is regulationist. What is strategic relational? It means that state is a site for resolution of conflicts, of class differences. State is site for resolution of class differences, right? For resolution of class differences, what state does? State only provides strategy, policies, and regulations. This is the function of state. That is to resolve class differences, and to resolve class differences, state shall provide strategy, policies, and regulation. The third concept that Jessop gives is post national workforce state, right? We have, in the start of the lecture, we have seen when economy moves from Fordism to post Fordism, that is assembly line to knowledge driven economy. When economy moves from assembly line to knowledge driven economy, state's role become from welfare to to giving skill or knowledge, so that workers will be able to do work and attract investment. So the only guarantee that state gives is of skill, not social justice. This is Schumpeterian state. This was Bob Jessop's view. This was Bob Jessop's view on on state, and this was more or less the idea of Marxist state. From the next lecture, we'll start with post-colonial theory of state. Right? Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.